Recording in progress.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How is everyone doing today?
Morning. Fantastic.
Hi. Good morning. So nice to see all your faces. I know we have some training rooms that are also here. So hello to any training rooms that are here. Thank you guys for being here. Excited to see all of you. My name is Sydney Seymour. If I haven't met you, I'm the regional technology trainer for the Carolinas region, and really excited to spend about the next maybe hour and 15 minutes with all of you. So what we're going to discuss today are a little bit of contacts. We're going to talk about some best practices with contacts, and we're going to talk about smart plans and how to never, ever lose a lead, how to make sure that when people think of real estate, they constantly and consistently think of you. And I want this to be the class for you. So I don't want it to be where I'm kind of saying we're going to do this. So what I'd like for you to do is in the chat, and we'll kind of just do a little bit of a vote, but we're actually going to build out our own custom smart plan. You're welcome to follow along. We're going to take plenty of time to do it. I'm actually going to build it out myself, and then I'll publish it to the library. So at the end of the class, if you guys just want to go in and grab that one, you're able to do that. But here's what I'd like to know. I'd like to know from you, what type of smart plan would you like to create? And I'll give you kind of maybe some categories so we can really pick the best one. So would you like to do one for just your sphere? So would you like to talk about just doing a 36 touch? So if you want to do a 36 touch, maybe just throw 36 touch up in the chat. Would you like to do one for a lead? So maybe you're running Facebook ads, Facebook campaigns, and you want a smart plan the second that lead comes in. And so maybe just throw up lead in the chat for that. And then maybe the final one that we'll do is maybe specifically for either buyers or sellers. And I'll let you pick that one, like buyers or sellers. So you guys, I want this to definitely be your workshop. So just do me a favor and throw up in the chat what you would like. So again, the options are going to be sphere, like just a 36 touch for your sphere, just to stay top of mind for them. Or do we want something for a lead, maybe a Facebook lead? Do we want to create that? Or do we want sellers, buyers specifically? So I'll give you just a minute so I can kind of take a look at the chat and see. So Anthony, great. Anthony, your last name is House. You had to be in real estate. That was like the rule. If you have a last name of House, you have to be in real estate. So smart plans would be all different scenarios. So it's essentially how we're just staying top of mind with leads, people in our database, a mixture of text messages, emails, phone calls, task reminders, all kinds of stuff. So let's see what we're getting in here. So I've got 1, 2, 3. Oh, leads is coming in, you guys. Okay, someone just said everything, so we could do that. Okay, so it looks like lead. Okay, Sue, you're you're doing that. So 3 people, seller, buyer, lead. Okay, so it looks like a lead, you guys, is kind of winning a little bit here. Yeah, Ruth, absolutely. We can talk about all leads, not just Facebook. That's 100% fine. I'm just going to give you like a kind of like a sneak into something at the end where we're talking about that. So let's do one for leads. And we're going to build this out together, and I'm going to show my age here a little bit. This is going to be a little bit of like a choose your own adventure. So does anybody remember like the choose your own adventure books? Did anybody ever read those, or was it just me? And it was like, if you want to go into the cave, go to page 85. No, you're nodding. See, I'm older. And so those are the books from my generation. So this is going to be very much a choose your own adventure type of class. So we're going to actually build this out together. Okay, good. Mary is with me. She remembers the books. Thank you, Mary, for that. So we're going to really kind of build this smart plan out together. So it's not going to be a one size fits all. And then, like I said, I'm going to actually add this to the library, so I'll publish it. So if you're wanting to follow along with me, I'll give you plenty of time to put it in your own voice, in your own word, but know that at the end of the class, you'll actually be able to go into the Smart Plan library, grab this Smart Plan that we've created together, and use it in your business for that. So any questions before we just dive right in, you guys? Okay, Monica used to read the books too. Thank you. I feel a little bit better now. So again, thank you guys for being here. I know that taking some time out of your day, I know what type of market we're in right now. So thank you for spending just an hour with me, or maybe a little bit over. I'm going to try to get you out a little bit early for that. So thank you for being here with you again, or with me rather. If I've never met you, my name is Sydney Seymour. I'm the regional technology trainer for the Carolinas region, serving both North Carolina and South Carolina, and just really excited to spend some time with you today. So we're going to jump right in. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to share my screen here, and I'm going to log into Command. And again, today we're going to be talking all about smart plans. And so we're going to build out that smart plan together. I am recording this, so you all just had to acknowledge that to move forward. And just so you know, we do have a regional YouTube page. So if you just go to YouTube and search for KW Carolinas region, that is where we host everything afterwards. I try to have it up there by end of day. It just takes a little bit of time to process. And then you'll have this. So if there was a time that you wanted to kind of go back into, or I know a lot of you maybe have agents in your office that weren't able to make it, so they wanted to watch this at a later date and time, we'll have that up available. And again, there's a really awesome amount of you on the call. So if you guys have questions, or if you're really well versed in smart plans and you want to kind of jump in, please feel free to unmute yourself. I'd love to hear directly from you. Or I do have the chat up open as well over here. So if you guys have questions, if you want to add something to the discussion, feel free to type in chat as well. Whatever your comfort level is fine with me. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Let me just move some things around so I can make sure I see the chat. And then I'm just going to turn on, I have a little mouse halo so you guys can see directly kind of what we're looking at. So first things first is we're going to log into Command. So we're going to get into Command by going to agent.kw.com. All of you are going to have a username and a password that's going to give you access into Command. And so Command is essentially your lead to close and really honestly post-close system. So you'll be able to log into here and see everything that you need to do at any time. Now, what we're really going to focus on today are smart plans. So let me just do this. And Alicia, I do see in the chat, yeah, at the end of the class, I'll absolutely put a link to the YouTube channel in here. Thanks for asking for that. I'll make sure I do that. I want to hear from you guys in the chat. Would you just, it's a yes or no. If you've ever run or used a smart plan, would you just add that into chat? So either yes or no. And let's just see. Oh, Bob, it's so nice to see you. I see your name right there. Thanks for being here. Okay, so we've got, oh, Sue, that's right. You have two people. I'm like, no and yes. I don't get that, but you have multiple people in there. Okay, got it. So we've got some that have done kind of here or there. We've got a lot of yeses, one that ran one. Okay, not comfortable with the process. Thanks for being here. I hope that this will add some comfort to that. We've got some no's. Okay, so I love to be able to show new things to you. So I'm super excited that we have some no's here, because I think smart plans are really going to help you get some time back and also allow you to stay top of mind with every single person in your database. So we call smart plans because in my kind of opinion, they make you bigger, faster, stronger as an agent. So they allow you to leverage your time. It allows you to stay top of mind with people. Now, the one that we're talking about today is going to be potentially for a lead. We're going to say it's just for a Facebook lead, because I think that when we give it a little bit of a backstory, it helps us understand how to create the best custom smart plan. So smart plans can be a mixture of a lot of different things. So they can be a mixture of emails. They can be a mixture of reminders for you to do some sort of interaction tasks. So think, I want to remind myself to go to Facebook and look at this person's Facebook page and interact and engage with them. They can be reminders for you to pick up the phone and actually make a phone call to them. They can also be automatic text messages that go out through a third-party company, which is called Twilio. And we'll talk about that as we're building out the smart plan. So we might have people that have been with us prior that used eEdge or other systems. And we talked about like a 33 touch. We talked about that automatic drip campaign. Think of a smart plan as that, with just tons of customization behind it if you choose to go that route. And that's what I love so much about Command is absolutely not a one size fits all type of platform. So you can go in and say, these are the smart plans that I want to run, and I'm never going to create a custom one. And that's going to work fantastically for your business. You can also go in and say, I want to do everything custom and I want my own voice and my own touch on it. And so you can go in and do that as well. So we're going to log into Command again, just by going to agent.kw.com. And then here's something that I really love. So over on the left-hand side of the screen is where you're going to see all of the different applets that we have in Command. So I almost think of Command as your smartphone, and then we have all of the different apps that we're going to use together, and all of those apps speak to each other. And again, I know I keep mentioning this, but there's not any like right way to use Command or wrong way to use Command. So a lot of us might have the same phone on this call right now. Yet you might find that you have this app that you always go to. You're in real estate, so it's probably the calculator to figure out your commission. And then you might have all of these other apps that you've never looked at. And that doesn't mean that you're using your phone wrong. It just means that you're using your phone for you. Command is the exact same way. And so we've got all of these applets over here, but you might find like I only really used contacts, smart plans, opportunities, and campaigns, and I never touch anything else. That's fine. So it's really you can choose to use it however you would like. And I know we've got some really awesome Market Center tech trainers that are on this call as well. So definitely reach out to them for more of that one-on-one or workshops in your Market Center around those different applets. So at any time when you're in Command, you can click on the red box up here at the top left. And if you're not really familiar with what all the different icons stand for, that allows the page to open up, and we can then see the names of each of the applets in there. So the one that we're going to be focusing on today is Smart Plans. So all we're going to do is just come down to where it says Smart Plans, and we're going to click directly on the Smart Plans icon. And then that's going to keep you in Command, because again, Command is one platform, one system where everything's going to stay together there. So it's going to keep you in that system. It's going to take us into the Smart Plan applet. Now, we had a good amount of no's of people that have never run a smart plan before, which is super exciting for you to maybe start your first one today. So if you've never run a smart plan before, you'll see that when you go into your smart plan library right here, this will all be a blank space, which is fine. That just means that you've never added any smart plans to your library for you to use in your business. So think of it, if we were actually going to, if they still have these, right? A physical actual library where we would check out books. We have this entire library that we can pull from. And then in your personal smart plan library are the smart plans that you're going to use. So we have to basically go to the library first, find the smart plans that we want to use, check them out, and then we're able to keep them, customize them, and use them for our business at any time that we want to. So we've got all of the smart plans here. Again, if you've never run a smart plan, that'll be blank. That's completely fine. We're going to talk about how to find smart plans in the library first, because we are going to take the time to build out our own custom smart plan. And yet there's a whole library of amazing smart plans that I want you to be aware of that we're going to pull into our library as well. So the first thing that we're going to do is just click right up here on the tab that says library. And that's going to allow us to see all of the smart plans that you have available that you can use in your business. Now, we have a relatively new layout when we're looking at smart plans. So across the top of the page, we have a new section, which is featured smart plans. And so this just might mean that these are smart plans that we're seeing agents are using at a larger time. We've got close to that 5-star rating. More agents are using them. So these tend to be kind of like the trending smart plans or smart plans that people are using. We can take a look at those. We can also come into the next section down here, which is Keller Williams Smart Plans. And so the smart plans that you might have run before, or you might be comfortable with, or you've heard of, are generally going to be Keller Williams Smart Plans. So the monthly neighborhood nurture, where we're sending, here's what's happening in your neighborhood. The quarterly call smart plan, that's just reminding us to call them once a quarter. Those are all created by Keller Williams. The home anniversary, birthday smart plans, all of these different things are created by Keller Williams. Then we get into the next section, which is the top rated smart plans. And this is where I love Keller Williams, because we always lead with our heart and we always lead with culture. And I think we're even seeing this here in the smart plan library. So essentially what this is these are smart plans that agents or associates or leadership with our company has created and then decided to publish to the library. Now, you never have to do that. But understand how powerful that is. So we can see someone, we know that Mega Camp is coming up digitally. So you could see someone digitally on the Mega Camp stage and they could say, this is my follow-up plan. This is the smart plan that I use. You could come in here and search for that follow plan, and you can have the same follow-up plan as an agent that's the top of their market and be able to follow up with consumers that way, which I just love. And then the last section down here are any smart plans that are new. So anything that's been published to the library very, very recently is always going to show up down here. Now, we have a ton of smart plans here. So we've got, excuse me, when we're looking at top rated, we've got over 800. So we definitely want to find a way to filter through to be able to find those smart plans. Now, again, we're going to build our own custom smart plan today. However, we might have days where we say, I just want to find a smart plan for X, and I want to be able to search by that. We can come right up here and you'll have a search bar at the top left. Now we can search by the smart plan name. We can search by the author name. So again, if you know the agent or the associate or leadership, but if you know their name of who wrote this smart plan, you can come in here and search for that at any time. And we can also search by the description. So we're going to keep it just with smart plan name. And we're going to say that maybe we are going to build our own custom, but maybe just we want to come in here and we want to search for Facebook. And we want to see any smart plans that are out there that are based around Facebook lead follow-up. And so you'll see that when I just search for Facebook, I get 329 results, which is a fair amount of smart plans to have to filter through. So I can also come over here to the filter section and I can say, okay, I want a smart plan that only runs for 3 months. And I want it to have this many touches. I want this many agents using it, and I want it to have at least a 4-star review. So we'll just filter down for the 4-star. We're going to choose filter results, and then we'll see what we come up with here. So then we've got 3. So we've got emails, Facebook follow-up. We've got another lead smart plan, and then we've got a Facebook ad follow-up plan. Now, I don't really know what's happening in these smart plans, and I probably want to know before I just start to add them to my library. So you'll see we want to make sure that we're just paying attention to what we're really looking at. So we'll just kind of do this third one over here. There's 338 agents using it, and they give it a 4.5-star review, which is a really great review. There's 12 steps total in this smart plan, and it goes over the time. It's 7 touches, and it's like a weekly 7 duration of that. So right down here, I've got a little button that I can click on that says view steps. I highly recommend that you do that before you just go to adding multiple smart plans to your library that you don't really know about and don't definitely want to use. So if I click on view steps, the first step is a phone call, and it's got a really nice script right there. And we're going to walk through how to do this. Then it's going to also send a text. Then it's going to wait a day. Then it's going to send an email. Then it's going to wait a day. Then it's going to have some sort of interaction touch with that contact. Then it's going to wait 2 days. Then it's going to send a text. Then it's going to wait a day, send another email, wait another day, and then a final interaction touch with them. So if we liked this smart plan and we say, okay, I kind of like the flow of this. I like that it's a mixture of like emails, phone calls, text. I'm comfortable with all of that. We could just click add smart plan, and it would allow us to add this smart plan to our library. Now, the name of this smart plan is my Facebook ad follow-up plan. if I want to rename this, I can do that at this point. So if I want to name it something that's specific to me, just make sure that you're naming it what you're really going to use it for. So don't get into the habit of naming this Smart Plan 1, Smart Plan 2, or Smart Plan A. We need to really know, okay, what is this Smart Plan? What's the intention of it? And who do I want to add to it? So if we really like this Smart Plan, we want to have this Smart Plan in our library, all we would do is just rename it here if we choose to. And so I'll actually just rename this test workshop just so we can see how this works. And then we're going to choose download. And then you'll get a little quick banner at the top. This was added to your Smart Plans. We're going to X out of this. And then you'll see that if I scroll to the very top of the page and I go back into my Smart Plans, you'll see that at the very top of the page now, I have the Smart Plan that I just added to my Smart Plan library. Now from here, I can customize it, I can change it, I can do whatever I want. Again, we're gonna build out our own custom Smart Plan, so we won't take the time to do that, but that's how you would just access the library, find the Smart Plans that you wanna use, and add them into your personal library. So I'm gonna pause for just a moment there, just because I know it was a lot to kind of chew off, and just take a moment to see if there's any questions on what we've covered so far, or anybody have anything to add or any clarity needed around that. We're good. Okay, simple, 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 you guys. Anthony, what are the 10 plans I already have? So that's where command is going to be really different for everybody. So those would be plans that you probably maybe went into the library and searched for and added into yours, or you might have an awesome MCTT that said, here are the smart plans you should start to use, and you just added them into your library. Doesn't mean that anybody's running on them or that anybody's been added to them, but they're probably just ones that you went into the library, searched for, and added into your smart plans there. Okay, perfect. Chat is good. No questions. So we're going to keep it moving, you guys. So let's talk about how to create a custom smart plan. So again, we're going to say that we got a Facebook lead. Maybe we ran a Facebook campaign and we did it maybe based off of a listing. Let's just make it nice and simple so that we can have kind of like an intention behind this. So we ran a Facebook ad, we ran it around maybe our listing, or we asked for approval at the market center to run it around one of the other associates' listings. And so now we have this smart plan that we want to create when someone comes in as a new lead from an ad that we've run on Facebook. So I'm going to give you guys options. What do you want the first touch to be? So a lead comes in from Facebook. Do you want the first lead to be a reminder to make a phone call? Do you want it to be an email that goes out? Or do you want it to be a text message that goes out? So do me a favor and drop your response in chat, because again, we're building this smart plan based off of your feedback. So do you want phone call, email, or text? What do you want the first thing to be? So we'll see, we'll kind of take a nice little vote here based off of what we see in the chat. So I'll give you just a couple seconds to type in the chat. All right, so it looks like we might have a clear winner in phone call, which I have to tell you, I appreciate you all so much that the first touch you want to have is a phone call. I just love that you want to actually pick up the phone and make the phone call to them. Okay, so we're going to start with a phone call. You guys are telling me. I see text is probably in like number 2, and we'll touch on that in just a moment. And then I do see email, so we'll maybe kind of do it in that order for that. So we want to create a custom smart plan. And so for us to do that, when we're in our smart plan library, all we're going to do is come up here to the top right, and we're going to click on the box that says create. And again, you guys, it's completely up to you. However you learn is fine with me. I'm going to go through this very slowly. So if you're wanting to build it out yourself, I'm going to give you plenty of time to do that. But also know that I'm going to name this plan something that you can come back and search for. And so if you want to actually go to the library and search for this smart plan that we're creating together and then customize it, you are more than welcome to do that as well. So I'm going to call this plan, we're going to call it Carolina's Okay, so if you want to just make a note of this, if you guys do want to come back into the library later and pull this smart plan in, this is what I'm calling it. Carolina's Facebook lead smart plan is what I'm going to call it. You can also search for me as the author, but that's maybe going to be difficult because I spell my name very, very differently. So you can always search for me as the author, Sydney, Cydne Seymour as well. But this is what it's going to be called. So if you want to come in and just search for Carolina's Facebook Lead Smart Plan, you're welcome to do that as well. So this is what we're going to call it. Again, you would want to call it whatever you're wanting to use for your business, just to make sure that we're using the right smart plan for that. So we're going to name this, and then we're going to hit apply. And then we all decided together that we want the first step to be a phone call. So that what we're going to say is we ran some sort of ad about a listing on Facebook. Those leads came in from the Facebook campaigns that we ran directly through Command. And then now those leads that came in, we want to make sure that we're cultivating and nurturing them. And so we want the first step to be a phone call. So the first thing that we're going to do is we've got this smart plan that we've created where it's really a blank canvas right now. And so we've got right here where we can add steps and save, and then we can pick a trigger, but we're going to talk about that in just a moment. The first thing that we're going to do is over here under actions. This is where we can decide what do we want to do. And so these are all of the different building blocks that we can essentially add to a smart plan. So we can say, I want to create a task. I want to make a phone call, which is what we'll start with in just a moment. I want to send an email. I want to send a text. I want to set a delay. I want to add them to an existing smart plan, or I want to restart the smart plan. And then down here at the bottom, you'll have just some really nice kind of tips and rules about it. So a task allows up to 7 tasks a day per smart plan, and then delays must be added to include more of that. Each text message, it requires at least a day delay between. So we're just, again, not spamming anybody, so it requires that. Sending an email requires at least a 1-day delay between scheduled email messages. And you'll see that as we're building this out, if we don't put a delay, it's going to give you a banner of why you need to do that. And then just some rules about setting delays, and then adding to smart plan, and then when things are due. So we're going to scroll all the way back up to the top. And we all decided that the first thing that we want to do is make a phone call. So all we're going to do is click right here on make a call. And then you'll see that we get a nice little box over here that says, okay, we're going to make a phone call. And so the lead comes in, we want to make that phone call immediately. So we're going to keep this where it is, and we're going to say that this is due today. Now, if you guys have used smart plans before, or if you've used just a lot of tasks or stuff, you'll know that a lot of times you get, if you have like 20 people on a smart plan and the task is due today to make a phone call, you'll get those task reminders and it'll just say phone call, phone call, phone call, phone call, phone call. And you won't really know who you need to call. So what I really like to add in the task is right here. I'm going to say that the task is that I want to call someone. That's the task for me, is to make a phone call. So I'm going to just type call, and then I'm going to use these merge fields. And so I'm going to come right over here to the right. And if I hover over this, these are merge fields that I can add. It's a drop-down menu. And so I want to call the contact's first name. I'm going to put a space right there, and I want to call the contact's last name. Now, the reason that I like this is because then when the task comes up, it doesn't just say call. It says call Sally Seller, call Lucy Lead, whoever it might be. So it has the contact or the lead that I need to actually take the interaction and the engagement with. It has their first and last name right in the task right there, which is just really nice. And then in the description, I like to put, what do I really want to be calling them about? Because I want to work smarter, right? So I don't want to have to go into the contact to see how I know them, what I need to be having the conversation about. So down here in the task description, I'm going to say call lead, because again, I'm using this for Facebook leads. So I know that anybody that's going to be added to this smart plan is a lead. They're not from an open house. They're not from my sphere. Like, this is just for a Facebook ad that I'm running. So I'm going to say call lead. They are a Facebook lead. And this is just kind of maybe to trigger me, right? And then I might even put right here a merge field where I can put the contact phone number. And so I might just have right there where I have immediately the contact phone number that I can see right in this specific task. Now, if I have a script for this, I'm going to put the script right in here. because I don't want to have to be thinking about what I'm going to say. I'm going to actually put the script there. So I might say hi, and I'll just put these in quotes so we can kind of see that this is the actual script. Now, if I was building this out for myself, if I knew that I was just going to use this and I wasn't going to be publishing this to the library, I would just put, hi, this is Sydney Seymour. But since I'm going to be publishing it to all of you, I don't want you to be calling people and saying, just following the script, right? So I'm just going to put agent name right here, right? And this is where you would just make your phone calls, right? And then we might say property address. Oops. So I'm just doing like a slight little script here, right? And then I might remind myself to like engage in discussion, right? So I'm just saying, I'm going to call this lead. They're a Facebook lead. This is their phone number. And then I'm just saying, hi, this is Sydney Seymour. I see you clicked on the property I posted on Facebook, 123 Main Street. I just wanted to check in and see what you thought about the property, and also answer any questions that you might have around it. And then I'm just really trying to lead into that engagement to find out, are they a current buyer? Are they thinking of selling? So trying to find out more details about them. And then I'm actually going to put in this task, because I just want to remind myself, I'm going to say add all details to contact record, because when I have the conversation with them, I don't want that conversation to go wasted. I want to make sure I'm taking all of that information and I'm adding that as a note or an activity or something on the contact, which I'll show you how to do that once we've built this out, because I want to make sure that I'm keeping all the details of every conversation that I have with them. So the first thing that we're doing is making this phone call. I'm a big fan of saving your work throughout the process. So to do that, I'm just going to click on the little check mark down here that says save. And then I'm not done with this smart plan, but that's letting me know that it's saved this actual step right here. Now from the chat, it looks like the next thing that we wanted was an email. So you guys tell me, because again, this is your kind of decision. So we made a phone call. How many days do we want to go by before we then send the email? So from a Facebook lead, we made a phone call this day. How many days do we want in between before then we send out the email? So we'll just give you a couple seconds just to type your response in chat there of how many days do you want in between that. So it looks like, okay, we're coming up. We all have the same responses. Okay, awesome. So we want 1 day in between that. So we're going to continue with that. Perfect. So what we are going to do is we're going to come right over here and we're going to say that we want to set a delay. So we're going to just click on set a delay. And then we decided that we want 1 day of that delay. So we're going to keep that right where that is. So we're going to keep it as just 1 day right there. And then we're going to move on where we're then going to send the email. So I'm going to, again, save my work. So I'm going to click save right there on that 1 day. And then all I want to do is add an email. So I'm going to come right over here and I'm going to choose send email. Now, you've got a couple things that we just need to make sure we're paying attention to here before we're really submitting this and running with this smart plan. So the first thing is right here, you'll see that you have a reply to email. This is an email address that's been set up in your settings. And so if this is not an email address that you check frequently or you ever look at, make sure you'll have a little banner down here that says to update your command email address, please go to settings. And then you can click right here on settings and you can update this. Because what that means is if someone responds back to this email, this is the email address that it's going to go to. So we just want to make sure that that's indeed the email address that we want to use. Over here is where we can put the subject. Anytime that you can put emojis, I feel it's just a little bit better because people, for some reason, kind of look at that. So we're going to say that the email subject, we'll put a nice little house in there, a little house emoji. And we might, let me just move this over. Perfect. So we're going to make the email subject. Let's think. Anybody have any suggestions on what we would want to name the email that we're, or the subject rather, that we're sending out immediately? I'll watch the chat to see where my creative people are for any thoughts on what we might want the email subject line to be for that. Oh, you guys are leaving me on my island. Okay, we'll see. We're going to say this is, okay, just checking in. That's a good one, Melanie. I like that. So we'll do just checking in. We'll do that one. Now you guys can change this. If you don't want that, we can absolutely do that. But we're going to do that for the subject, and we're going to keep that cute little house right there. And then you'll see that underneath here, we can choose what type of email we would like to use. By default, it's going to be a simple email, and that just means that I can type whatever I want here, but it's really just going to be text. I can do some links, but it's going to be a very kind of basic type of email, which is fine. But I'm actually going to choose a design. So again, the default is going to be simple. I'm going to come right over here and I'm going to click on designs. And then you'll see I get an option right down here under email content to select a design. So I'm going to choose a KWRI template. I've got close to like 74 different templates that I can use. As you start to use your own templates, those will be available right here. And I do have a search bar right up here. So if somebody was looking at a potential listing, we might think that this is potentially a buyer, right? If they were clicking on a listing, we might think that this was a buyer. So I'm going to say that, let's take a look at, we're going to preview this one. I just searched for buyer at the top, and we're going to, I don't want that one yet. We'll save that one for later. So let's see what this one looks like. We can preview them at any time to just take a look. Okay, so I'm actually going to do this one down here. I'm going to do the work with me buyer. So I'll click on this to preview this for you. And so this is going to have all of your contact information up here at the top. It says, if you're looking to buy, I'll be your guide. Investing in a home is one of the most important decisions you make. So it goes through technology, all of these different things. I'm going to choose this template. So I'm going to choose select template. I like the way that one looks. And then that template is going to be right in here. Now I can click on that. Oops, sorry, hang on guys. I can click on that and actually go into the editor as well. So I can come in here and make any changes. I can click on the little eyeball up here, and it allows me to also preview it. And so I can really see what it's going to look like filled in with my contact information. So this would be your Market Center logo. This would be all of your details. And then down here at the bottom, this would be all of your information as well. So it's already really put together 100% for you. However, if I wanted to make some changes, so if the text here, I just didn't maybe like the wording of this, or I wanted to make changes, I can click on the text box at any time and click on the little pencil right here. And that allows me to then, it opens up all of the text for me. I can go in and make any changes that I want. I can get rid of anything. So if I wanted to make those changes, I could, but I really like the wording of this. I like the layout of this. I like the design of it. So I'm going to keep it exactly the way that it is. And I'm going to just choose save and exit at the top of the page. So again, let's like backtrack just a little bit. We're creating this smart plan together. The first thing that we decided to do is to make a phone call. So we're going to get that reminder to make a phone call. Then we're going to set a delay of 1 day. And then it's going to send this email. We decided to name the subject, just checking in. It's going to have that email content right there. Any questions from anyone or comments around anything that we've done, how we've built this out together so far? We're good. Okay, awesome. I am going to add a text message to this. Now, remember that Twilio is a third-party system that you can choose to use with this. Oh, Melanie, so the emojis, so you can actually get them. I actually just pull them in. I'm working on a Mac, but you can also come in under simple. You have the ability to put emojis, or in the text, you can put emojis, and I just copied them that way. So I just copied them from somewhere else. So we do have the ability to add a text message using Twilio. Now, Twilio is a third-party company. You'll set up a different phone number. So it won't be your cell phone number. You're basically purchasing a third-party number. There is a fee for it. It gives you credits. You can set up Twilio in settings. It'll walk you through everything and you can determine how many credits you need, but it's very, very inexpensive. It will send out, the first text message will be an opt-out text message. And then once they've continued and they say, yes, we'll move forward, then the text messages will continue. So you have options. You can say, I just want to use Twilio and I want the automation to be there. Or if you're saying, I want to tell myself to send them a text message manually, we could do that. We would just create a task around that. And the task would be to send a text message. I am going to actually send the text message because I just want you guys to see how that would work if you're choosing to use Twilio. So I'm going to choose send SMS, and then you'll see right here, it tells me that my Twilio account is connected. And so it's got right there, everything is set up. If you don't have a Twilio account, right here, it would say, go to settings to set that up. And I've got options. Do I want a static text message or do I want a dynamic text message? And so right here, static tells me to set up a single text message, not recommended for repeating smart plans. Dynamic is recommended for repeating smart plans. So what that means is I can essentially say, here's a smart plan and I want to run through the smart plan and then I just want it to repeat again. If I want to do that, I can set up as many text messages as possible. And so it would send the first text message and then move on to the next step. And then as it rotates back around, it would go to the second text message. So you can set it up that way. I'm going to do a static, just a one text message here. I do like to use merge fields here because I think it just seems a bit more personal. So I'm going to say hi, and then I'm going to come over here to the merge field and I'm going to scroll up and put that contact first name. And I'm going to say it's, and then again, if it was just me using it, I would really put my name right here. But because I'm publishing this for all of you, I want to put the agent's first name and the agent's last name with, and then I'm going to put this in caps, market center details. You would put your market center details there. How are you? I'm just going to say that, right? Just to check in. How your face, how your, okay. So I'm just putting like a little kind of thing right here, a blurb about my mobile app. And then I'm going to actually put my app link right there. So the text as they're going to receive it is, hi, contact first name. It's me, Sydney Seymour with, and then your market center details. How are you? Just wanted to check in and see how your home search is going. I know you liked the listing you saw on Facebook. I also wanted to provide you with an easier way to search for homes. Check out my app that shows you all properties anywhere across the country. And then I might do my app, and then I might do a little emoji right there of, maybe I'll do like a computer. You guys can decide what you'd like to do here. And then I'm going to say download it. Okay. Let me just check. If you don't complete the task, like the phone call, does the rest of the smart plan execute? Yes. So Anthony, it will just continue. So you'll have those task reminders, but it will continue for that. Do you have a delay between email and text? No. So I'm going to add one. Thank you for catching that, Ruth, but I can go back in and add that. So I am going to add a delay of that. So this is where we would just put in the whole text message. Now, I want just a note about this, you guys. Twilio has rules. So if we're using Twilio, we have to follow their rules. And so with that, Twilio has times where they will send text messages and times where they won't. So they don't want you sending text messages at 2 o'clock in the morning. So the text messages will be sent out from in our time zone, 11 a.m. to I believe 6 p.m. is when those text messages will go out. So that is why if we're creating a smart plan for this specific situation where we're saying like it's a Facebook lead, I always recommend that we never start with a text. So what I mean by that is the lead comes in, we're going to immediately get a reminder to make the phone call. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and say, I've got to make that phone call, but you might make the phone call at 9 o'clock in the morning, right? If the first step was a text and that lead came in at 6:30 at night, the text would not go out until 11 a.m. the next morning. Emails will go at any time. Reminders obviously will come to you at any time. So we just want to make sure if it's really that speed to lead and we need to make sure that we're like on it very quickly, we don't want to start it with a text message because it just does have that time parameters associated with it. So again, that's why I love that you all said we're going to start with a phone call. So I do need to add that little bit of like a buffer right there. So you guys tell me, just drop it in chat for me. How many days would we want to go in between of us sending that email to then the text going out? So again, so far we've made a phone call. We waited a day. We sent an email. How much time do we want in between the email and then the text that goes out? So I'll give you guys a couple seconds just to come up with that. So we see a day again. Perfect. So we're going to stick with that day. So to do that, I'm going to come right over here to set a delay. Yeah, love it, Melanie. So we're going to take that and we don't want that delay here. We actually want it up one. So we're just going to click the arrow that says move up. And then you'll see that we've got the email that's going to go out. It's going to wait 1 day. And then that text message is going to go out. Now we're going to set another delay. And we're going to do that another day. And so you guys, so far we've done a phone call, we've sent an email, we've sent a text. What do we want to do now? So I'll just, again, have you guys drop in chat for me. So what do we want to do now? Do we want to send another email? Do we want to send another text right after the text? Do we want to do a phone call? Do we want to do some sort of engagement, maybe of like a reminder for us to look on their Facebook and to do some sort of engagement with them, to like a picture or something like that? So I'll give you guys just a second in the chat to write what you would like to do next for this. Okay, so I see find them on Facebook. Okay, yeah, so like right now we're engaging as a lead. We maybe want to find them on Facebook and maybe message them, maybe just comment, maybe like, whatever it is. So that's going to be a task for us. So we're going to say that we want to right up here, we want to create a task. The task is going to be done today. Is it a touch or is it a non-touch? And so this just tells us to select this one if the task involves reaching out to a contact, which this really does. This involves us actually doing something. And so the task is going to be find, and again, I'm going to use those first and last names because I just think it's so much easier that way. First name, last name on Facebook. And I'm going to say lead from Facebook ad. And if I'm friends with them already, or if I became friends, I could like, I could comment, or I might say message. So it's going to be kind of based off of what we've done so far. And then I'm going to say add details to contact record, because I want to make sure that I'm recording all of this in command for that. We're going to save this. So I'm going to save that as another task. And then I'm going to say, I'm going to set another delay. We'll stick with the 1 days in between. And then I'm going to say that I actually want to send another email. So I'm going to choose send email. Now, remember that I sent them my app prior. I don't know that they necessarily are using it or downloading it unless they're favoriting things and saving a search. So I might want to send them something else, maybe about the consumer app. And so I'm going to come right up here to designs. and I want to choose, I have to do the subject. Oh, hang on one second. Sorry, my computer is, there we go. Search for, I'm going to call this search for properties from your couch, whatever I want there. Then we're going to come in, I want to pick a design. I'm going to select a design. And I'm going to search under KWRI, and I'm going to see what they have for the consumer app. And I'm going to see, promote your app. I'm going to choose this one. This allows me to see what it looks like, get the on-demand real estate information you crave all in one place. It's got all my details here, all my information about how to search through the app. I'd love to hear what you think of my new app. I'll be reaching out soon to follow up with you. If you need anything in the meantime, don't hesitate to give me a call. So then it's got all of my branded information again down here. So we're good with this. We like the way that this looks. And remember, at the bottom of this email, it said, I'll be reaching out to you to see what you think of it. So now it's time for me to essentially deliver on that property, or on that promise rather. So I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to set a delay. I'm going to do it for 1 day. And then I'm going to remind myself to make a phone call. So the phone call is going to be due today. It's going to be call. I'm going to cheat it again, do the contact first name, last name. And I'm going to say email went out yesterday about mobile app. Call to check in. And I'm going to just remind myself right here, if they don't answer, send a text. So if they don't answer, if I don't want to leave a voicemail, I'm just going to remind myself to send them a text right there. And I'm going to save that. For the sake of time, you guys, we're going to kind of end the smart plan there. But I do want to add one thing. So we're continuing like on these days. I love that it's the 10 days of pain. You're taking me back. I love that. So we're continuing with that. But what I do love is we can then add a smart plan into a current smart plan. So here's what I mean by that. If I say, okay, I love this and I want all this to work, and I'm going to continue to kind of nurture them, but I want to make sure that I'm calling them at least once a quarter. So maybe like I continue that 10 days of pain and then nothing is happening. And then I just want to continue to stay top of mind with them. I do have the ability, I'm going to set a delay. And because I'm calling them now, I'm going to actually set this delay out quite a bit. So we're going to maybe give this like 15 days. Actually, we'll stick with 10. So I'm going to set a 10-day delay, and then I'm going to add them to another smart plan. So I'm going to choose add to smart plan, and then I can search by all of my smart plans that I have. So I'm going to search for the quarterly call smart plan, and it's my quarterly call plan. And all that is every 90 days, it's going to remind me to call this person. Because in this scenario with these Facebook leads, they might not be clicking on it today and buying a house tomorrow. So we might want to really hit that ground running really heavy in the beginning by the email, the text, the call, the email, the text, the call, and continuing with that. And then we might want to like let it go just a little bit and say, okay, I'm going to call them every quarter and maybe do some additional things in between. This allows me to add them to the quarterly call smart plan directly within this smart plan. So I don't have to then say, okay, finish this and then put them on this smart plan. They just roll right into the quarterly call smart plan. So I'm going to say we're done with this smart plan. We've done everything that we want. We love the way that this looks. We're ready to use it and rock and roll with it. We're going to give it like one kind of final look right here. Now I can add a trigger event, but I'm actually going to show you something that I think is easier than that. That's a new feature that just rolled out. But what a trigger event means is the second that I tag this contact with this specific tag that I have, they're automatically added to this smart plan. So you can do this with Facebook ads, but I'm actually going to show you an easier trick with that. But imagine if you had this as, let's say you had a closing today, right? So you closed with a buyer or a seller today, and then you created your own custom post-closing smart plan. The first touch was a phone call. I have another one of those in my If you guys want to go in and pull that I've created, I do have a really nice post-close one. Feel free to use that as well. But let's say we had a closing today. The first thing that happens is a phone call. Then we send them an email asking for a review and a testimonial. Then we add them to a quarterly call smart plan. All of these different things. What I could do is I could tag the contact as closed. And I could say, okay, in this smart plan, anybody that has the tag of closed, once I tag them as such, they're automatically then added to this smart plan. So it takes off a little bit of the legwork of you having to go in and say, okay, I closed them. Now let me add them to the smart plan. It's doing it automatically for you, which is really, really nice. I'm not going to do a trigger event for this one because I actually want to show you something that's kind of like a step above that for these leads that are coming in. So we're not going to add a trigger event. We're just going to choose save right up here at the top right. Now, again, I'm a big fan of saving each step as you're going through. We got that nice little banner up here that this was saved, but I'm still going to hit save one more time because that's the way that I operate. And then we're going to go through how to actually add contacts to this smart plan if I wanted to do it manually. So to do that, I'm going to go into my contacts. I just believe that this is the easiest way for you guys to do it. So we're going to go into all of my contacts, and then I can go in and I can filter by anything. So if I wanted to filter by tags, if I had people that were maybe from an older Facebook ad that I kind of want to revive a little bit, I could go in and filter by that tag. I can go in and search. I can do almost anything that I need to in the contacts. So once those contacts come up, you'll see that you have a little filter button right over here. And so if I wanted to go in and filter by, show me all the contacts that have this tag associated with them. Show me all the contacts that I'm saying are leads. Show me all the contacts that came in from this specific lead source. So maybe if you wanted to revive any previous Facebook leads that you had. Show me anybody that was recently active. So we can come in and we can really, really filter down. I do want to show you a trick that I'm going to recommend if you're adding contacts this way. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to choose all of my contacts. And so right now I'm showing 100 contacts. So if I want to pick all 100 of those, I can pick the checkbox right up here. I can also just come in and check the boxes here individually and go through that route. But once I check the boxes over here, you'll see that I get a drop-down menu right over here that says select bulk action. And if I scroll just a little bit more than halfway down the page, you'll see that one of the options that I get is add to smart plan. And then all of my smart plans that I have in my library come up as an option. So the first one is the one that we all just created together. So I can choose select right here. And then it's going to ask me a question. Do I want to start all of them now? Do I want to start them on the following date? Or do I want to stagger a start over the next few days? If you are adding like a very large, substantial number of contacts to a smart plan, I recommend that you stagger the start over the next few days. The reason for that is because this smart plan, if I was really adding 100 contacts, and I don't know that you're going to have 100 leads from Facebook, but let's say that I was adding 100 contacts to the quarterly call smart plan or something that has a lot of activities. If I just say, okay, start everybody now, then when the first activity comes up of something that I have to do, it's going to come up with 100 tasks that are due on that one day, which is going to be extremely overwhelming. So I really recommend, if we have a smart plan that we're putting a substantial number of contacts on and it has a fair amount of activities, I highly recommend that you stagger the start over the next few days. And what that allows you to do is then to say, okay, what's the maximum number of contacts per day that I want to have that activity for, or I want to have that task do? And so if you were managing all of your current business, all of your active listings, your active buyers, and we needed to continue to cultivate, what's the maximum number of contacts that you would feel comfortable calling or doing that activity with every day? And it will basically break that up over the number of days for you to complete those activities. So again, Facebook leads, we don't have to worry so much about that because I don't know that you're going to have like thousands coming in a day. But if we're adding all of our contacts in a database to the quarterly call smart plan, for example, we would want to make sure that we're really staggering that start. Otherwise, it's just going to be a lot of activities due on one day. So the final thing that I just want to show you guys is the new feature that I know your Market Center tech trainers are so excited about, and I'm so excited about. And so we're actually going to go into where we would create a Facebook campaign. So I always recommend that you actually do it in the order that we've done it. And what I mean by that is don't create the campaign until you have the follow-up. Because if I just go in and I create the campaign and I have no follow-up plan in mind, the leads are going to come in and then I'm wasting the time of actually doing the follow-up. So make sure that you're actually setting the follow-up first, like we did today with either pulling a smart plan in from the library or building out your own custom smart plan. And now what we can do is we can go into campaigns, and let's say that we do want to run a Facebook campaign. We can come right up here to create a campaign, and we're going to choose that we want to run a paid social ad. And then I'm just going to call this one test. You would call it what it really is. And we're going to say that this one is advertising a listing. Now I know some of you said like you're not so comfortable running a Facebook campaign. So I know your Market Center tech trainers are well versed in that, and I'm sure would be happy to help you with that, or probably already have a workshop in your Market Center on that. So definitely check in with them. We're going to run this on Facebook. And then I'm not going to actually go in and build the campaign right now, but you'd be able to pull in the listing that you want to run the campaign for. You'd be able to basically build out the entire ad directly that will run on Facebook through here. I'll actually just pull a listing in just so we can actually kind of see what it looks like. So we'll do this one. So you'll see it starts to actually build out the ad over here on the right for you. We can pick the media, so we can add images, we can do all of that right there. But what I actually want to show you is the newest feature that's almost down to the bottom of the page, and it's called lead settings. So if we click on lead settings, it gives us the ability to configure them. So this is a new feature. This is about 10 days old, and this is, to me, an absolute game changer when we're talking about running Facebook ads. So you now have the ability to say, when I'm building the Facebook ad, what do I want to happen to the leads that come from this campaign? So the first question is, do I automatically want to tag them? And so I would probably think that I automatically want the lead to be tagged as such. So I want to create a tag called Facebook lead, and I want these leads that come in to automatically have that tag applied to them. The second thing that we can automatically do is assign them to a smart plan. So that's why we took the time to actually create the smart plan ahead of running the campaign. So I'm going to say, yes, I want to add them to the smart plan that we just created. And then what happens is you run this ad, leads automatically come into command, and they're immediately added to this smart plan. So you don't have to then come in and say, where's the lead? What smart plan do I want to put them on? How do I want to follow up with them? You could really be sleeping and leads would be coming in, and the smart plan would already automatically be working for you. So again, this is where we can't create the smart plan here. We have to have the smart plan created ahead of time, and then we can decide what smart plan do we want them to automatically be assigned to. And for this one, we did an email as we did a phone call as the first touch, so that immediately we could wake up in the morning and at 7 a.m. we would have reminders to make 4 phone calls if the lead came in through the night. So we wouldn't have to say, okay, here are the leads. Now what do I want to do with them? So I think this is for those of you that are running campaigns. I know we've had really successful campaigns, especially in our region. I would really encourage you to dive into this and to have that smart plan created ahead of time before you're running the campaign, because it just makes it so much easier. So I'll pause for just a moment. This is a new feature, so I just want to make sure we're all on the same page and just see if there's any questions about this or discussion or comments, or if anybody has anything at all to add. All right, looks like chat is good, you guys. Okay, final thing that I want to show you is I actually want to go back into the contacts. Because if you noticed when we were building out the smart plan, for a lot of the tasks, I reminded myself, add that to the contact card, like make a note of that, right? So I just want to make sure that we're all aware of how to do that and how to find that. So I'm going to pull up my contacts and I'm just going to go in to myself as a fake contact that I have. So we can search for any contact at any time by just coming up here. And so again, maybe I have them as a lead because they came in from Facebook, but I have them somewhere in command and I just want to get to them. So the task came up for me to call, we'll say Sydney Seymour. I made the phone call and now I want to remember the discussion that we had, because that's where the true cultivating of the lead comes from, is when they tell you, yeah, we're thinking of moving because, you know, we realize that we definitely need a dedicated home office and that's something that's really important to us. Or they even tell you like, we need a fenced in yard because we have a dog and we need to make sure they can be let out at any time. Like these are the little details that really set you apart from anybody else. So we need to make sure that we're remembering all of that. And so you'll see that when we're looking at a contact over on the right, we have like all of the interaction and all of the engagement that we've had with that contact. And so any smart plans that they're on, we'll see that. Any opportunities that they're on, we'll see that. We'll see the timeline, we'll see everything there. What I want you to really get into the habit of doing is adding what we call an activity. And so you might have an add activity button right up here. If you don't have that, you'll definitely have a plus sign right down here. And that allows us to add an activity, which is the first option. So if I just click on add activity, it says, what type of activity do I want to add? And so maybe I really had a phone call with them and I want to remember everything that we talked about. So I'm going to say Facebook lead. I know that I have them labeled as such, but I want to know really everything when I'm looking at them. I'm going to say, clicked on 123 Main Street. Right. So whatever they tell me, anything. So I'm just saying as an example, they need a dedicated home office. They're probably not moving until the end of the year, but this is everything that I want to know. And I am going to say that they've responded. We had that two-way conversation and I'm going to hit save. And then what I really encourage you to get into the habit of doing is the next time that you get some sort of reminder to have an engagement with this particular contact, don't just say, let me call them, let me text them, let me do that. Come back here and look at your actual notes, because I know that you guys are having so many conversations and you're balancing so many different things. If we can just take like a tiny bit of time and come in here and take a look and say, what was the last conversation that we had? What was it around? Because if now the time for me is to reach out to them and engage with them on Facebook, and maybe I found something on Pinterest that was like the most beautiful dedicated home office, I might want to tag them in that if I see it on Facebook or something. And I might say like, is this what you're thinking regarding the home office? Right. But I know the way to engage and I know what's important to them. So I'm not kind of just like blindly reaching out how I need to. So get into the habit of, number one, making those notes. But then number two, more importantly, looking at the notes that you have before you're just making the phone call or any sort of interaction with them. So it really, like, everything stems from a contact. And then as we're even continuing to nurture that lead, we want to make sure that we're just adding all of the details and then really reviewing those details to have the best conversation with them possible. All right. So, thank you guys so much. We built out this full smart plan together in really quick, like speed time, you guys. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to actually go into the smart plan. I'm going to clean it up a little bit. I'm going to add a couple other touches, and then I'm going to publish it to the library. I would say probably by 12 o'clock today. So just give me like a little bit of time. So again, I'll go back into it. Just those of you that are interested in it, you'll be able to search for it by, if you just search for Carolinas, because that's part of what I put in the name. But I will publish it to the library within the next hour or so that if you want to use it, you're able to. So again, you'll go into Smart Plans and then you'll go into the library and you'll be able to search in the library. You can search by me as the author name. So just by my first and last name, Sydney Seymour. If you probably honestly just start to type CYD, I'll come up. There's not a ton of us in the company. But you could also search by the Smart Plan name of just Carolina's, and it will probably come up. And I will keep the name here of Carolina's Facebook lead Smart Plan. So I'll go in and kind of clean that up a little bit. So if you guys like the way it's built, you can download it. You can still customize it. So if you're saying I want to move some things around or I want to change some things, you're able to do that as well. But hopefully this will be a bit of like a starting point for you to have this to then be able to run those Facebook ads for that. So I'm going to unshare just so I can see all of you beautiful people before everybody jumps off. And I'm open if you guys have questions or anything that I covered that you want to kind of dive back into, we can absolutely do that. But that's everything that I wanted to cover today. So I just really, again, appreciate all of you taking a little bit of time out of your day today to learn about this. And hopefully this was helpful for you. So thank you guys for being here. And if anybody has questions, I'm happy to stay here as well for you. Thank you. Monica and Sue, thank you guys for bringing people in to your market center. I appreciate you, or anybody else that did that. Thank you guys.
Yeah, this was a great,
Thank you.
This was a great class. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It kind of jumps off of what I showed them yesterday. So now we're going to get one in place.
Nice. I love it. Yeah, you guys feel free to download it, tweak it, use whatever you need, but the Smart Plan is yours. You all created it. So yeah, buy Anthony House, best last name in real estate. Can't believe it. He was destined to be in real estate, you guys. All right. Thank you for being here. I'm going to stop the recording. This will be available on the YouTube channel.